This is Tyler as Words. Today I want to talk about the Peanut Butter Falcon, a wonderful, heartwarming freaking movie that I saw and just loved to pieces. It wasn't the widest release, probably because there was some other movie, like some comic book movie that had to fill up all the other theaters, some kind of animation. But this is a movie that, yeah, you could just categorize it as one of the indie type films and quirky. Maybe it's too, the story is too eccentric for maybe a wider audience, but I just think that is garbage. I think people, if something is good, people will like it, and if something is good, it is probably good universally, but we'll never know because it wasn't given a universal chance. This film is set kind of in the South, so it's kind of like Mud, which I've talked about on this channel before. One of my favorite movies of all time, and the second best movie of the decade. Okay, so let's talk about The Peanut Butter Falcon, starring Shia LaBeouf with a beard. Anyways, besides being utterly heartwarming and without coming off mawkish or maudlin, it's a great story example of the journey or quest. In this case, our protagonists are literally on the run. We've all read or seen a ton of journey stories, and many of them share the obvious. The main characters are going from one place to another in a high state of stress or duress. Maybe there's a time crunch. Could be that there's dark forces approaching from behind, uncertainty and pitfalls lie ahead. Most likely there's an academic classification for what I'm talking about, but I think I slept through my lit classes in college under the false assumption that I was going to be a doctor. Whoops, not a doctor. Sorry people that made me. Your scion is not a doctor. Getting back to the film, let me say this again so it's out of the way and unequivocal. It's great. If I told you the impetus behind the main character's quest, it might seem ridiculous, but that's the magic of storytelling. Any premise or goal can be compelling if written well. It's all about the delivery, bro. It's all about the delivery, bro. So besides being very much its own thing, it also falls more or less into that classic tale of folks on the run. The journey. Running stories seem basic in an outline. On the other hand, they have the ability to pretty much encapsulate life. I know it seems we're all mostly just sitting around right now, but that's not really true. We're running for something. Running from something. You might be running behind or ahead of schedule or on time, you get the picture. Why do people keep making these types of stories? My guess, it's hard not to get behind a character, a group of characters trying to go from one place to another. Odds be damned. It's hardwired in our very essences to do the same thing. Maybe in our own lives we're not trundling along to get from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean or whatever, but maybe we're trying to ascend from poor to rich, or from weird to normal, or sad to satisfied. Almost everything's a journey. Probably why stories like the Odyssey or Lord of the Rings are so timeless and poignant. By the way, there's a whole thing about the quote-unquote hero's journey proper, but I'm not exactly talking about that, though there's tons of overlap between what I'm talking about and what those people are talking about. Pretty sure there's like a graph and chart that maps out the official or codified hero's journey, but I'm afraid of charts and graphs, so I'm not going to do that. When it's all said and done and the credits roll, my brain forces me to ask a little bit deeper question. Why are stories on the run such a big deal to us? I can only speculate because I'm not a doctor. Perhaps it's the inherent restlessness of the human spirit, and perhaps we're all emotional sharks unable to stop moving. Could be that we just like a little inspirational reminder to get our shiz going. Maybe we just like to see things move. Because otherwise, boring. Run for it. Cheers and see you after.